There's a whole story about that. I'll have to tell you after the show.
Okay.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 8 of the final split. And it is an episode that it's just going to be a good one, I know, because we're already having some webcam issues. Hopefully they'll hold up throughout the show here. But joining us this week, as always, to my right, we have Sinister One. Sinister One, how are you tonight?
I'm good. My webcam is not so good, so let's... you might see some...
There it is already. You got it. Zooming in and
Speak
zooming
of the devil. Speak of the devil.
All right.
All right.
Also, with a distorted webcam tonight, using the Andy overlay, we have Spike Vegeta. Just kidding. Spike actually can't be here. He's at a sleepover party with Stryker. They're playing games and just generally being nerds. So we brought Andy back to fill in. Andy, how are you doing?
I'm pretty jealous.
Pretty jealous? You want to?
Yeah, dude.
You want to elaborate on why you're jealous?
I would love to be in the middle of a threesome with Stryker and Spike right now.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
You heard it here first.
All right then.
You heard it here first.
There we go. And our guest this week actually just got off of a long streaming session there and was trying to chug some food before we got live. So hopefully he's well fed. It's the Mexican Runner, everybody. How are you today?
I'm okay, just a little like overwhelmed, but yeah.
A little overwhelmed?
Yeah, too much racing on Castlevania.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get to talk about Castlevania a little bit later in the show, I imagine. So.
Oh, yep.
All right. Let's go ahead and get this party started then, shall we? Let's go ahead and talk about some news of the day. It's time to press start. Guys, the first thing that we want to talk about is a site redesign that happened this week. Sinister One, do you want to explain a little bit what's going on here?
Sure. They just revamped the Games Done Quick site a little bit, kind of gave it a new layout. It's still just in a beta phase, early phases, but looks pretty nice. So we figured we'd bring it up and share thoughts on it. Personally, I like it a lot. I did have some critiques, and I think one of the best things about it is there is actually a thread on SDA where you can say if you think there's anything that could be improved, changed, etc. So I already submitted all of my potential improvements, but I also had a long list of things that I really did like about it, which mainly is just it's very straightforward. It's a subtle design and gets to the point quickly. That picture is really cool. Don't mess with Krauser. Clearly,
there are a lot of good faces in this picture, and for some reason it's not showing up well on the stream. So ignore what I'm showing you now. It's gonna look better than it does on the stream at the moment, but you get the idea anyway. Big images. I like the shorter sentences and stuff that it kind of just draws your eyes to different things and keeps it short and sweet. So at the very top of the screen, you got your options here to look at the schedule. You can look at the home page. I imagine they'll put the streams on this page as well.
Yeah, they're going to be putting streams on this page. So things are going to be changing a little bit over the next couple months as we get to SGDQ. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about it, Andy? What do you think about the new page? Have you looked at it?
I really like the look of it. It looks a lot. I just like the graphics, and it looks a lot smoother and more modernized, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's kind of my big takeaway from this is that it's I don't want to say like long overdue, but it is a nice refresh of just look and feel, and it's simple. That's the best part about it, is that it's really easy to navigate. You can find everything that you want to find, and I can see it being kind of like the hub for marathons now. A lot of people might have not used the website in the past. They might have just been going straight to Twitch, and then trying to figure out what the schedule was from there and all of that. But I think this looks pretty slick. So yeah, that's the. Go ahead.
I also really love the picture they put in the back. It's one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the banner or the four-way race picture?
The background, yeah, the four-way race.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Countdown's face
I like
in there
it a
is
lot.
priceless.
Yeah, there was mixed reviews of that picture in the thread I saw. Like some people were like, "Oh, you couldn't find a better picture." I was like, "What? That picture's awesome." But yeah, everybody kind of had a different opinion on it. So.
I like that picture because you can just see who's really interested in the race and who's too busy texting on their phone. You just kind of go through and look at different people in the second or third row there, and you get an idea of how interested they are. Yeah. So. So that's the new Games Done Quick website, guys. Check it out. Give it a look. And as always, like Sinister mentioned, there's an opportunity to provide feedback on the site as well. They're looking for ways to improve it. So cool stuff. All right, let's move on, guys. It's time to take a look at a TAS again. We haven't looked at a TAS in a few weeks. Let's take a look at this in the clippy clip here. This is Kirby Superstar. This is going to be an SGDQ, but not this TAS. This TAS is far too advanced to be replicated in real time. And
you say that now. We still have 2 months.
That's true. That's true. If you blink, you're going to miss it, though, so pay close attention here. This is Masterjun, by the way, doing this TAS. And it's going to exploit a ladder glitch that's been known for a while. He jumps on the ladder, and look, the game's over. So that's kind of cool. Oof. Basically, what's going on here is the game doesn't expect you to climb up and down a ladder at the same time. And I don't know, too much of the technical information about it, but what happens as a result of that up and down at the same time is that you can kind of overwrite memory. And he's able to trigger the end credits. So there you go. That's Kirby Superstar in something like 23 seconds. I don't know. Pretty cool stuff.
Well, I think it's funny that this was like kind of a known glitch a couple of years ago, but nobody really got anywhere with it until now, or at least not to this level anyway.
Yeah, it seems like it was maybe one of those unexplored or I guess undiscovered secrets as far as the glitch was known, but just took a while to find a good setup. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe you just need somebody like Masterjun to jump in and figure that out. But it looked like some other people were involved in this as well, including Mug and Oxwis, who runs Kirby Superstar, was providing some of the save states that were required for the TAS. So pretty cool stuff. It's up on TAS videos right now. I believe it is in the judging phase. And I'm not too familiar with TAS videos, but I assume that means that it needs to get enough yes votes to stay on the site, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, traditionally, but it's not all about the yes votes without going into great detail. But yeah, most of the time, if something gets more yes votes, then it's probably going to get accepted. But okay. I think at the end of the day, it's up to the administrators if because they can override and still reject. It's not total democracy, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Well, it looks like, from what I saw from the comments anyway, it's getting positive support. So
yeah, if there's not a lot of controversy or anything, if there aren't people saying, well, I don't think that this should be, right, then it's probably fine. But a lot of times there is that controversy that goes on, and then long discussions happen, and then eventually they come to some kind of decision.
I think we were looking too at previous TASs of Kirby Superstar, and there's nothing like it as far as this category.
Yeah, the one that it's obsoleting was 41 minutes, or I don't know if it's going to obsolete it. I guess this will be a different category, but yeah, the other one on site was 41 minutes, which is substantially longer.
Yeah, so this is kind of the first of its kind TAS of Kirby Superstar. So that's pretty cool. We thought we'd bring that up and show you guys because it is one of those. I like those mind-blowing ones where it's just okay, I have no idea what happened. The game's over. Cool.
Well, do you think a TAS can be too short, guys? I want to know what Andy and TMR think. Do you think it can just be too short? That's not even entertaining. It's over, or is that good?
I don't know. I guess it depends on what's going on. If it's short, but there's stuff going on constantly, that's actually interesting, then I don't think there's a problem. But the TASs are made for entertainment, not for shortness.
True.
For the most part, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, yeah, I feel that one, and also other games that has really short TASs that they're just really short, and you're losing that pushing the game to the maximum. I mean, every person who look at us, it thinks that it's they see somebody playing, they just dream in their mind, they're seeing a superhuman play, and you see a glitch like this, and it's it's just like a failed orgasm, man. Come
Right.
on.
I'm not even sure he did anything. Yeah, it just
Right.
skips to the end.
Yeah, man. It's like everybody's like, what happened there? Honestly, it doesn't look like
Right.
impressive, but I mean,
Yeah, there's not like a visual like in some glitches, like Mega Man 2 has like the zip glitch, right, which is
Yeah.
clearly evident. You see them like zipping across the screen really fast, and it's like, oh wow. But this is more just like it's just okay, what happened?
Right, exactly. Like I'll give another example. The Super Mario World any percent TAS is, I want to say, like 1 minute and 30 seconds long, but most of that you're seeing lots of setup for it. You don't really know what's going on. There's lots of moving of items around the screen, and you can kind of tell that something crazy is about to happen. So you're at least getting to see kind of the setup that leads to the wrong warp.
Yeah.
And this is more just like he jumps on a ladder and it's over. So
And yeah, it's done.
well, anyway, it's pretty cool. You guys should check it out if you want to see the replay. Head on over to TAS Videos, take a look at that. But for now, we're going to move on and interview our guest of the week. We have TMR on the show this week. And first of all, I guess the question that both Sinister and I had when we were discussing what we wanted to ask you was just how did you get involved in speedrunning? I think this is a question that we tend to ask a lot, but I'm actually genuinely unsure of the answer here.
Yeah, that was somehow. I was with my brother, and I wanted to beat Battletoads 2 players. It was 1.5 years ago. I was not really sure, like if is that possible. So then I found the TAS videos, and somehow like putting TAS, it somehow in YouTube lead me to Twitch SRL page, and then that was like a new opening for me, like a mind blow, just like completely. I was like, man, this is not true. Are these guys really playing live? And I mean, the first one I watched was Siglemik, then Cosmo, and then Josh the Funk Dog. And actually, I was watching Josh the Funk Dog. I was just like a long time lurker. And one day he said, "Oh, welcome to the stream," and he said my name, and I was like, "What? How does he know I'm here?"
Yeah, Funk Dog's really good about that. Yeah, he'll catch the lurkers. So, it was Battletoads though that got you to eventually to find SRL then.
No. I mean, was the TAS videos that got me into SRL, but then when I saw the people like doing speed runs, since I beat Battletoads, and that was like my huge achievement when I was a kid, so I decided that I should speed run that game. Like I can beat anything there, and yeah, that got me into kind of speed running. But it was really amazing also, like doing races. The purpose of speedruns live, doing races with other people, that was really amazing for me. Like I was always consider myself a good gamer, but I never had the chance to play with good people. I mean, with people good at games. And playing there in SRL was like, wow, man! I need to. I just start to get more into, and then here we are.
So I got to ask you about the flute, man, because I remember there was one stream where you just shocked the world and pulled out this flute, and people were like, "What is he doing right now? Like, what's happening right now?" And then you just played. I can't even remember how many songs it was, but like every time I was like, "Dude, there's no way he could possibly know another song."
Right, it's full, you got the
you
full
just knew
concert.
You just knew more.
Yeah.
And then even when you ran out of songs, you were like, okay, if you guys want to just like give me a YouTube video, I'll just play it from that. And I was just like, what? So can you tell us a little bit about the flute and how that started for you?
Yeah, the thing is that I started speedrunning, and I was only doing that honestly on stream. One day I play guitar on stream and I sing some songs in Spanish, but and actually the people like it. But to be honest, I'm a musician, but I study flute when I was in the school.
Okay.
So for that special, I decided, because it was a really good special for me, and I decided that it cannot end just by beating the last game. I was like, man, I have to do something else. And then I came up. I wanted to play the guitar, but somehow I said, "Oh, just fuck it." With the flute, for me, it's easier. I said, "Oh yeah, well, I'm just gonna play the flute." So I had no idea what songs to play, but yeah. Then one day I said, "Okay, maybe I will play these ones and see how it goes." And yeah, just improvise there. And yeah, actually, it was a really successful because nobody was expecting me to play the flute, and at that level, because it was really nice. And yeah, it was just like I remember when I started, like the tweets and retweets just got crazy, and it was really amazing. It was huge. I reached my almost my peak of viewers while playing the flute.
All right. So we had a question last week about whether, skill or practice is more important. And I want to ask you, like, you were able to play some of those songs just from seeing it on YouTube. We call that play it by ear, right?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
just is that just a natural skill that some people have it, or is that something that you can practice and become good enough that you could just play by ear? What do you think?
First of all, you need the oh man, I forgot how to say it's like perfect pitch, or I mean not
Yeah.
perfect pitch, but you can have even related pitch or something, but you need that to understand the sounds. Like if one is higher than another one,
Mhm.
you need memory as well,
Mhm.
because you listen the melody and you need to remember it in your head like really quick. And
You can
I,
almost
I don't think it requires practice. It doesn't. It's just
You just
more
either have it or
skills.
you don't.
yeah, you can almost
Yeah, yeah.
visualize the notes as you hear them. Is that fair
Yeah.
to say?
Yeah, when you have the perfect pitch, yeah, you have the notes like in your mind. I mean, it's like somebody when you read a text that like now somebody say, I remember Boshi Jones, Boshi Run. So you have in your mind every single letter. It's the same with the music. When you listen a specific song, you have it in your mind.
Hmm.
Like I mean, it's hard to compare it to words, but it's something like that.
Do you
That's
think that
amazing.
speedrunning and music kind of go hand in hand? Do you notice kind of like rhythms in speedrunning at all?
Yeah, I mean it's really useful to be honest. When I play games, I just listen to music to find audio cues, to know how good I'm doing in a level. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Cool. Let's
it's
get
really
back to
useful.
some of the other games that you run too for a minute. Obviously
Yeah.
Battletoads is a big one, but you're not shy about taking good records in big games. I mean, you've played Contra. You're doing Super Castlevania now. Uh, do you pick games that have that competition there? Like, does that motivate you
Ye-
to want to play them, or is it just?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't like playing like shitty games. Like I mean,
I only play the
you
best
may say
games.
that I play shitty games like Bad versus the Space Marine. The only one that I agree that was a shitty game, kind of, it was but going back to Contra and like now Castlevania, I like challenges.
Sure.
Honestly, I like big challenges, and I don't feel like good like playing a game that has like no competition too much.
Okay, so it really motivates you when there are tough records to go out there and get, or if there are a lot of people playing a game.
Um, Depends. The music is a good factor for me as a
Hmm.
musician. Has to have good music, but it has to be a game that it's enjoyable to play. Because if it's a game that you really don't enjoy playing, it's bad. It's bad. But yeah,
And
it has to be challenging, definitely for me.
So I'm
and
curious because you've been playing a lot of Castlevania 4 lately.
mhm.
Are you gunning for the record? I mean, is this something that you want to take it all the way? Because you've been kind of climbing the ladder, and I think you're third. You have the third fastest time right now. Is that correct?
I was third, but 2 days ago, actually, yeah, 2 days ago, I think, just defend climb up again to the third place.
Oh, I
Furious
didn't know.
Old got the fourth place, and today I got a PB. I got the fourth place again. Yeah,
Wow.
Furious Paul is only like 7 seconds ahead of me. But yeah, I mean, I was climbing up. I am climbing up the ladder. The only problem that I never suffered before, it was like pain in my fingers somehow while playing this game, because I mean, I have been playing games that I press constantly left and right, but this one, it seems like you're only pressing right all the time, like
Hmm.
80% of the time. And yeah, it kind of, I don't know, I just have some finger X or something like that.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely want to take the record. I mean, I remember Josh the Funk Dog playing this game, and I don't know, I like him so much. So probably he was like a big influence for me and the music for this specific game. You know, a lot of people is asking me if I like which Castlevania game I like the most. I have to say that I don't play too many games of Castlevania, but the ones that I have played, Symphony of the Night is by far my favorite, by
Mhm.
far.
Oh, okay.
I do not speedrun it. You know, it's the same that Super Mario 64 is. It's one game that, you know, honestly, if I could change everything to be like a Sigla Mig or something, I will do it. And it just, yeah, I mean, it's a game that I just love it. And maybe in the future I will get into it, but wow, it's just, I don't want to spend like a whole year to just be in a competitive level.
Hmm. I want to transition and talk a little bit about your AGDQ trip because I remember that it was it was up in the air for a while whether or not you were going to be able to get to go. Uh, do you remember the details? Can you kind of walk us through what it took
Yeah,
to get to AGDQ?
yeah, I mean, it took a lot of patience, trying, failing, and trying again, because I'm from Mexico, so I'm not allowed to enter the United States without a U.S. visa. So
Hmm.
I had to apply, but because I was not working, and still I consider that I'm not working, it is nearly impossible that they're gonna grant you a visa because I'm like the perfect target to stay in the United States. Like, you know,
Mm.
there's many immigration from here there, and the people is not leaving the country, and that is the biggest fear from the U.S. embassy. And you know, of course, me not having like a, you know, children's here or a property under my name and jobless, it's like, for them it's like that. I mean, I had a letter from Mike Oyama and stuff like that, inviting me to HGDQ to help me out, but the first time they denied my application. But like 2 months later, I got partner on Twitch,
Hmm.
and that was a change of my circumstances, and I decided to go for it, to try it again. I mean, I really wanted to attend HGDQ.
Hmm.
And then the second time I applied, luckily I got it. I always blame the first time I applied. You know, you have an interview with somebody, and it was a woman that was really in a bad mood that day. But
Oh.
the second time it was like I mean, a black guy, and he was really cool. And yeah, he just like, yo, yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, boom.
So if at
I'm sure.
first you don't succeed, try again.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
tried it again. Yeah, you know, I got the visa. Then a lot of people helped me out for the travel expenses and staying there. And yeah, it was just really amazing. It was like a dream come true.
Yeah, and having been at AGDQ now, was it worth all that struggle to be able to get to awesome games done quick? I mean, is this something that
Yeah,
you're really glad you did?
yeah. I mean, it's such an event of a huge magnitude, and I got to know what is like going on there, you know, because like the normal viewers, they can only just see the stream, the actual gaming room,
Hmm.
where everyone is playing. But you know what is behind, like meeting all the speedrunners that you normally see on a daily basis, or at least I was seeing for the whole year I was as a speedrunner. It was for me really amazing, you know, just like shake their hands. It's a shame there was one person that I really wanted to meet, and that was Josh the Funk Dog. I wanted him even to sit in the couch while I was playing, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. But a lot of people, you know, I mean, Sigle Mig, and wow, I mean, you know, it's really fun because he's like the only one of my. I mean, there's a lot of people that I really appreciate, but like Siglamin is like one of my heroes. I don't know why. It's just I don't know why. Honestly, I just don't know why. I'm sure there's a lot of good speedrunners. But yeah, I
Well,
made you
speaking of that,
golden.
you said that
Signature.
Siglemic is kind of like your hero. Do you think now that you've been kind of gotten a lot more exposure and everything like that, as the Mexican runner, do you think that you've inspired other people in Mexico to get into speedrunning? Because like before you, there really hadn't been a whole lot of people, none that I'd heard of speedrunners in that area.
Yeah, it's true, and still, there's a huge problem with speedrunning because some people doesn't speak English. A lot of people in Mexico, it's not like in Sweden that like 95% they speak English. In
Mm.
Mexico, it's not like that, and that is a huge problem. Also, the internet speed is really bad, and not only in Mexico, in the whole Latin America, it's whole South America. Those are like some issues, and also, yeah, I mean that is like directly speedrun live. But yeah, there's a lot of people who actually play games and do videos, and yeah, I have been meeting the Chilean community with like they have like some speedrunners. None of them, they have like world records, but I mean, some of them actually. Lepinoche has the Donkey Kong Country record now, but yeah, I think not only me, some other like Latin American people is inspiring some other people from here, and it's good because like normally we get like bilingual chat. Which
Uh-huh.
is really cool for other people who doesn't speak English, who doesn't have a clue. They find somebody else that they can chat with. I mean, I
Right.
always answer to them in English, which I don't know if it's good or bad, but but yeah, I mean, English is a requirement these days, so
So is there anybody we should be on the lookout for, like somebody either Mexico, South America, some runner that we've maybe never heard of, but and you're like, hey, check this guy out.
I just don't have a clue if he has a Twitch channel or he stream. The Saber Off, he's a Mexican one.
Okay.
He actually did the No Mames emote, but he told me that he beat the time of Ikari Warriors. No, Ikari Warriors, the other one, Wizards and Warriors.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sorry,
I was about to
mixed
say.
up. Yeah, no, Ikari Warriors, no thanks.
That
But yeah,
game is
he
brutal,
beat
man.
the time, and so I'm not sure if he has a video recording of that or he just beat it on emulator. But he's probably nobody knows him at all,
Okay.
even me, including myself. But I mean, he's one person that, and like he told me that he was inspired by me, like doing that.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool. I got one more question for you before we move on here. I guess it's kind of along those same lines. Do you think SRL could do something to encourage more Spanish-speaking people to participate? I know a while ago they tried to do something for the Japanese community. They were going to create, a chat room for the Japanese players to hang out in. They started to translate some of the site into Japanese. Do you think that Speedruns Live itself could do something like that? And would that help attract more Spanish players?
Yeah, definitely yes. I mean, I had like that idea in mind, like to help to translate speedruns live to Spanish, like especially the Frecked asked question for the races. I have been getting too lazy, or it's just like I have been getting too lazy to be honest. But yeah, I think something like that can increase more people to play, but also like yeah, I mean when the people start to be like a community, I met the Chilean people and they were like three at the beginning, like, yeah, three people. And now, it's like suddenly like 8, 9 people. And, it has grown a little bit. And, like everybody's like inviting somebody else. And that is the way like it starts to increase the number of people. Fortunately, I have not met like a speedrunner from Mexico that I can race with or something.
But maybe sometime soon here.
Yeah, the thing is that it's really strange because some of the Chilean people they just like completely speaking Spanish, which is not bad, but I mean it's really weird. I mean like how it's gonna be the mix of speedruns live, which normally is in English. Like if any other person enters to a race, they communicate everybody in English and they just speak Spanish. I just I have like I cannot see clear how it's gonna be that.
Sure.
But the time will say.
Mm-hmm.
You never know.
All right. Well, on that note, guys, later in the show, you'll have a chance to ask your questions as well in the chat. So we're going to move on for now. TMR is going to hang out with us for the rest of the episode here. And we'll get some more discussion going here. Because right now, I want to switch over and look at this week's big plays. All right. This week in the big plays, we've got Cyclops Dragon playing this racing game called Nitronic Rush, and it looks like he's gonna land on the underside of the track here.
Yeah, this is not looking good.
But then he corrects himself. He somehow manages to ride the wall, and he's back on the track. Let's take a look at it a couple more times here.
He was also overheating at that point, which is like really bad in that game. If you're overheating, you're gonna have even more problems. So he was like just getting to the red line there right when he landed. So, yeah, it was. If we had the audio, like he actually, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was like even surprised himself. And
he was pretty stoked about this. So the flipping that you're seeing there, I think that's actually like an intended mechanic as far as the speedrunning side of things is concerned. Anyway, he's trying to flip his way back onto the track, but he landed on the underside of the track and then corrected himself. So.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this game going to be at SGDQ?
I can't remember if it's at SGDQ, but I know it's on the ESA list.
Okay.
So I want to say both, but I'm not sure. And
I think it's on the SGDQ lineup. Yeah.
Okay. I also think is it a free game? I think you can just download this, can't you?
Yeah, I think it's freeware, as far as I know.
It looks really cool. Yeah.
Got a nice soundtrack.
Yeah, it reminds me kind of if you ever played like those San Francisco Rush games.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of maybe not a very well-known series, but just got like that fast feel to it. There's kind of the tricks involved with the car flipping and everything. So, a pretty cool play there. By the way, guys, if you have plays that you'd like to see highlighted on our show, send them to our email address, which is somewhere I can't ever point the right direction. There we go. Right there on the side of the stream. Send us your plays. There we go. TMR's just going to do it for
help us out. Help us out.
Absolutely.
The more plays, the better. Because even if we get one and we don't use it in the particular week that it's sent in, if it's really that good, then it might just get used in another week. So
exactly, yeah. So
get them in there.
Make sure to submit those, and it always helps too when you submit these if you just give us a brief description of what's going on, because you can't know everything about every game. So that you help us, we'll help you by putting it on the show. So thanks again to Cyclops Dragon for the submission. And with that, let's go ahead and move on to some of the topics of the week in Real Talk here. First up, we've got the ESA games list, which is out now and available for your perusal, I guess, if you want to use that word. But the games list for ESA looking pretty solid and pretty fleshed out. There's a lot of stuff there. The Sinister One, what are some of your initial reactions to the games list?
That games list is long. That's my initial reaction. I mean, I think it's one of the nice things about ESA is they kind of have a different goal that they're working towards, so they have a lot more flexibility in their scheduling and kind of how they do things, and they definitely try to include different kinds of runs, have more diversity, and just kind of do all kinds of different stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how the actual the schedule, the game list is what's solidified, I believe, but the schedule itself is probably going to be a little longer till we came out. Biggest surprise that I had, and I'm going to throw it to TMR because he said that he's a huge fan. Sig Lemick running Super Mario 64 at ESA. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about that? TMR?
Definitely, I'm gonna be watching, no matter which time is it. Even if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, looking forward to it. It's always good to it's always very good to watch a speedrunner play their game, and I think like when you talk about Mario 64, Siglemic is an icon of that game.
Mm-hmm. Not just Siglemic, by the way, on the list. It looks like it could be a big race. I think there's 5 people listed as running 120. Last
Yeah,
I
they're gonna have
checked.
to they're gonna have to pare that down, I'm sure. But I mean, I think it's always good when because a lot of the European players come here for the GDQs, but you don't get as many American players going over to ESA, and especially such a high profile one like Siglemic. That's got to be a good thing, and maybe more people kind of want to go to the event.
Yeah. Some other things that jumped out at me aside from Siglemic, like you mentioned, uh, there the willingness to kind of branch out from speedrunning and just show top level play in other games. I saw Beat Mania on the schedule. Looked like it's just going to be like a demonstration. There were a couple of RPGs that the length of the RPG would probably keep it out of a GDQ. But they're willing to kind of include some longer games that you might not otherwise get to see. I know I saw Tales of Symphonia was on there. That's a 6 or 7 hour game. The new Lightning Returns Final Fantasy is on there. That's a game that I feel like, just based on its reception in the States, it probably wouldn't make a GDQ. But ESA taking it the opposite direction, saying, "Hey, this is a fairly new game. We're going to take a chance on it." I like that they're taking chances and they're not afraid to put games on the list because of what the public
Sure.
might think of them.
All right, Andy, please tell me you've looked at this list. We got to hear from Andy here. Come on.
I haven't looked at it too much. I've been pretty busy lately with work and stuff like that. But I just like the variation of stuff they're bringing, like not just speedrunning, like high level, like 2DX play or high level, Step Mania or whatever DDR play is always really interesting to watch. Like regardless of whether it's speedrunning or not.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think they've also mentioned they're going to have a melee tournament, just like the GDQs usually
Right.
do. They're going to broadcast the finals of their tournament. So, a lot of this might have to do with that second stream that they're incorporating,
Yeah.
just being able to put so much more content out there. But I guess I'm curious to see how much of it is because they have a second stream, they're able to put all these games in versus, they're just kind of willing to accept games that get submitted and they're not as strict about what gets cut. So I think it's exciting. I'm curious to see how ESA turns out this time around.
It's cool that they're willing to, like be sort of like the guinea pig for all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that if I was to critique the GDQs versus ESA, I'm more a fan of ESA in the sense that they do take those chances and they're not as flustered by, this game might not be the most popular game, so we have to exclude it.
Right.
The money is less of a focus of ESA versus making sure
Definitely.
everybody gets a game.
Yeah, everybody having fun,
Mhm.
sense of community and all that, which is it's terrific. So I'm interested to see, of course, how the second stream. That's obviously something that's been talked about a lot, and they're doing it. So they're not backing down. They're already talking about what ideas are going to be on there, and it'll be interesting to see what they do broadcast.
Yeah, and we'll keep up with ESA as it gets closer as well. So this isn't the last you'll hear of it, but just some initial reactions for you. And there's the list, so go check it out. Next up on the list here of topics, we're going to jump back to SGDQ for a second. Cool Maddie has an idea. This is something that I think people have been wanting as stream viewers. He wants to play chip tunes between games at SGDQ. So his idea is to kind of cut down on some of the downtime between games, just kind of have running music between games. What do you guys think of this? Should it be just chip tunes? Do you have other ideas, or is this a step in the right direction? What do you think?
I can start to
Sure.
speak. Sorry. From my experience at AGDQ, I mean, there's a lot of gamers, musicians, a lot, and very good ones. So I believe that it should not be only chip tunes. It should be like like the people who can play something related to the games. Between while they're setting up the next game or something, they just can play there, and that would be really awesome. For the people to to hear, to watch, and yeah, it's really
So
nice.
you're suggesting
So would you
live
would play
music.
flute?
Yeah.
You would
Yeah,
play
yeah,
flute
yeah. I
then,
mean,
TM?
not only flute. I mean, at AGDQ, I really regret because there was many two pianists. I mean, one accordion guy and another pianist that they just been really, really good. So if you have a song that you want to play with them, I think it should be there because it's quality musicians. It's not only like
Yeah.
somebody playing or giving a random speech or something.
It's
No,
it's
man,
it's
it's just
not me picking up the recorder and just trying to figure out how to play. It's these guys know what they're doing.
That would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
entertaining too, I think.
It
Yeah.
might be, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just play like one song in between, like boom, and
Yeah.
usually game songs are really short, so it is only like 3 minutes,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
long it takes the setup, and it is really cool. I mean, the people can enjoy, and even donations incentive.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, those. I think music is always good. Imagine a game without music. So imagine, I don't know.
The one thing
GDQ
the one thing I will say is that the GDQs are kind of becoming their own celebration of games, and so many people are showing up to GDQs playing music already. They've kind of organized some jam sessions out in the hallways or in other rooms away from the marathon room. I think that's a really cool idea. Just bring them in, let them be a part of the marathon. 'Cause
Yeah,
I think people would jump on that.
yeah. The main reason is gaming, but there's a lot of gamers, as I say, that they're musicians. And finding good musicians and people who know games music. That is just like heaven for musicians, for
Yeah.
gaming musicians, or I don't know how to call them, but it's really cool. It's really cool. It's not like
Yeah.
that's the biggest problem with musicians, that you never find like somebody who have heard a music of a game.
Mhm.
Where are you at on this one, Andy?
I completely agree. Like, I think just having any sort of music in the downtime would be great.
Yeah.
Especially because, there's technical difficulties are going to arise regardless of how prepared you are, and that makes the setup a little longer. Like, some of the PC blocks last year, took, 15 minutes to set up, if not more.
I will say
Right.
that it's probably hard to schedule everybody playing live music in between every game. So it's
Yeah.
probably not realistic to assume that could happen. But I could see where, if it's during the day and people are down there and they want to
Yeah.
do it, it could be a very impromptu
Yeah.
thing. They just show up and play a random song and surprise people.
Yeah,
You never know what you're going to get.
I have an idea in mind that can actually work. Like normally they have like blocks of NES, SNES, PC blocks or whatever. So within those blocks, you can actually play like music. With some people like making a quick perform, like giving an introduction. Let's say Mario. There's a lot of Mario songs. So imagine two people before the Mario block, like playing, or three.
Absolutely.
That would be
Well,
something good.
I'd like to just add a couple things. One, for those of you that haven't been around the GDQs for the entire time that they've been out, there's Koreshi used to play the piano during runs. Like he
Correct.
actually played your Battletoads TMR. You got to check that out, man. I believe that was AGDQ 2011. He's playing the entire soundtrack while the speedrun is going on. And he did that also for another game. I'm drawing a blank on which.
Was the Castlevania?
It might have been. It was something at CGDQ. I'd have to look it up again, but it was phenomenal. I remember that both times it was just a terrific experience. So yeah, I totally agree with it, and I think that this is a step in the right direction. Dead air is obviously bad for the stream, and we had tons of it throughout. A lot of marathons. I'm surprised that something like this hasn't happened earlier, but hey, better late than never.
Exactly.
And I think it's definitely a good step, and it's going to continue. It'll be this time we'll do the chip tunes. Maybe next time there's going to be a runner interview, or maybe there's going to be something about like a little clip about hey, this is what speedrunning's about, or whatever. So
Right.
yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I agree with all those things. Any way we can find to fill time between games is a good thing, and whatever it happens to be, if it's just chip tunes this time around. If it's live music, if it's a mix of the two, I think it's all positive. Let's go ahead and move on, though, because we spent a lot of time on that one. Speaking of live gaming experiences, coming up this week in Sweden, there is a gaming convention, and I'm not even going to bother to try to... Okay, I'll try to pronounce it once.
I think everybody should have to try.
Should we all try? All right, I'm gonna go
At the
first
same
here.
time.
Oh, at the same time? All right.
At the same time.
All right, can you all see the word there in the bottom left
Yeah.
there? Okay. All right, we're gonna say it on 3. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Retro
Spell
Masan.
All right. So
We got it. That was
yeah,
definitely it.
absolutely.
No question.
If you blend all of our sayings together, it was right. So anyway, RSM is going to be going on this weekend in Sweden. It is a video game convention, and one of the things that's going to be there, courtesy of Team Ludendi, is live speedrunning. They're going to be performing. Now, this is a convention that is open to the public. They've done it before, where they'll have just kind of a live audience behind them. It's a one-day thing. What do you guys think? Sinister One, there's some pretty big names going to this.
Yeah. Basically, the translation of this is it's retro game convention, more or less. And they did it last year. It was headlined by Dexter. He did a bunch of games, and I really recommend checking out. He did. I guess it was Mega Man 1 that he did, dressed as Dr. Wily. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. But yeah, it's cool because what you can see is you kind of see people wandering around this convention, then just kind of getting drawn into this, and they come and they kind of sit down and watch. So it's not like they're attending specifically to see this, like at a GDQ where people are specifically coming to see that. Like they're there to go, to buy some games or to see some exhibits or whatever.
They might not even know it's there.
Yeah, they may not even know it's there. And I think that this it's great that they put this on. They do it. I think they're going to do an 8-hour stream. So it's a relatively short schedule, but it's really action-packed, got a lot of good games in it. I think they got, Ocarina of Time. They got Mega Man 3, a couple other classic, mostly classic stuff that's relatively
Yeah, I think Zelda 2
short.
is one of the games that's in there.
Zelda 2 is in there. I'm not sure if they have Super Metroid this year. They did it last time.
No, they have Super Mario 64.
Oh, see, Pikaka's doing.
I think
one
so.
twice
Yeah.
already,
I believe so. But yeah, I mean, I think it's something that I'd really like to see more of. Because there's certainly events in the U.S. that could be, similar things could happen.
Yeah, let me ask a little bit more about that. So we've seen, in the past, after HDQ, for instance, Rom Scout, Trihex, and Cosmo go to, I want to say it was Anime on Display. It was the name. It's a West Coast convention. They were, I think they were flown out as guests, or I don't know if they, don't want to give details that might not be true, but they flew out there, participated in a live event at that convention. Do you think that's a venue that we should explore more in the States? Should speedrunners try to be organizing these one-day things at different kinds of gaming conventions or anime conventions or whatever it is, what have you? Andy, would you participate?
Yeah, that'd be a fun thing to do.
He's like, I don't know about this.
I mean, I guess, I don't know. It'd be a little weird for me, but I guess I'd feel honored if I got invited to some event to play.
Well, I'll give you an
Let's
example,
get
Andy.
just
I
to be
mean,
there.
let's go with, you live close to where MagFest takes place, for instance.
Yeah.
Do you think that I don't know if you've ever been to MagFest before, but, do you think that would be like a good venue that, a bunch of speedrunners should come and just kind of put on a show? They've done like panels and stuff there before, but never really kind of this where it's just like a block of, hey, we're just going to play games for 8 hours and people can watch.
That'd be something interesting to do. I went to MagFest in like 2010, I think. That was before I got into speedrunning and anything. I just went, one of my friends was like, this thing, it's about games, and I was like, sure, why not? But I think that would definitely be something interesting. I mean, there's definitely a lot of runners in, the Maryland, DC area that you could definitely get a decent lineup of games out there.
No question.
Yeah, I guess the cool thing about it to me is just I think it's more of a relaxed nature. The GDQs tend to be you feel really nervous about your runs. You're kind of under pressure to do well because you're representing the game, and money's being raised for charity, that sort of thing. But it feels like maybe a little bit of a sit back in your chair kind of event. You can breathe a little easier, have a good time. So
it's funny that you said that about 2010 because that was the year that CGDQ was actually supposed to be at MagFest, but there were internet issues.
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
yeah, so I was actually there too.
Yeah, you could have been there.
We could have walked by each other and never even known.
So just so you guys know, this is going to be on Ludendi's stream as well. So they're going to be live streaming this. It's not just happening at that convention. You're going to be able to see it on twitch.tv/Ludendi. So check that out. And we'll check back in with them too, just to see how it went. Let's move on and talk about our record of the week. And I think TMR, you're going to be happy with the choice. I didn't prep this, I didn't know going into this you were such a Siglemic fan, but that's the record we're taking a look at this week. We've got Siglemic's 120-star run in 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 54 seconds. Safe to say that this is a milestone for Mario 64, but at the same time, he's got to watch out for Puncation, I think. Don't you guys think?
Yes, very much so.
That's it. He's just got to watch out. Next
I
time.
do remember Sig was saying he wasn't really impressed with this run. Like, all the time he saved off of his old record was just, better strats from like a record that's been in place for a year and a half now or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is, one of those things where, it's the new record. It's probably not going to stay the record for very long, simply because the level of competition is so high right now between him and Puncation. I know Puncation's had a few runs that were pretty close to beating this, and Siglemic had, I think, a record or a run that was on pace for 142 at one point. So it's certainly, it wouldn't surprise me if we wake up, sometime this week and this is no longer the run. But at the same time, breaking into that 143, I think it's a huge feat for the game.
Yeah, it's. I'm not real familiar with this, but has it been in the 144s for a pretty decent amount of time?
Yes.
Yeah, it was for one
Probably
year
for
and a half.
Yeah, probably like a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay.
When it first broke into the 144s.
And I would like to say one thing. I really don't like glitches and stuff. To be honest, I don't like into speedruns. I hate them. For TAS they're okay. So this is 120 stars, and it's not as glitch out the game as like for the 16 stars or other stars. So this is really cool because if you want to see the whole game, this is just the category, and the way that the Siglemic and Puncation play, and other people as well. Simple flips. They're just so good at the game that honestly, it doesn't matter if it's not Siglemic. I mean, if you watch any of those speedrunners who just destroy the game, that you see Mario never stopping, he just puts some adrenaline into his body or something. Yeah, I mean, it's never stopping. You can see, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. All the time.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Can we? I need to get this on screen.
That's highlight material,
see,
right?
the problem is we didn't have his webcam on screen. Can I get you to do that again? Can I just? Here we go. What is it like when Mario's moving nonstop? What is it like?
I don't know, man. Just was sometimes things. Right. Yeah. Why? Yeah. What? Mamma mia. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of stuff. You can have fun watching this, and to be honest, I have seen a lot of people in the top level just taking out the mic, and I think that is one of the wisest things. You just want to hear Mario getting the bonks, everything. You just want to see him suffer or speedrun. You want to see that, honestly, and that is a really good way that you can enjoy the game. You can just put the full screen, don't worry about anything, and yeah.
So there you go. That's Siglemic's 120 star. Who knows where this is headed? But I'm excited because the competition is still there. Puncation's kind of keeping him honest, and if he sleeps on it, he might lose it. So on that note, let's go out of bounds for just a second and continue along that train of thought. Guys, if you could choose anybody to speedrun your game, who would you choose and why? Basically, I guess I'm asking because competition seems to be a good motivator. And TMR, earlier you kind of mentioned that you like to go for those competitive games and those games that are not easy to get the record in. I guess there's usually competition there. Is there somebody that you think of in the community that you think to yourself, I really wish they played my game because they would be really good at it and motivate
Man,
me.
I really would like to play one day, like side to side, a game that Hotarubi or the EXO that play. Because honestly, for me, those guys are just like crazy. I mean, and I like how the people there are different kind of speedrunners. I have to say, there are speedrunners who copy strats, and there are speedrunners who make strats, and those two are just top high level making strats and very good. So those two,
Yeah, they tend to be
for
kind
sure.
of like Hotarubi, especially. I think is somebody that's kind of like a trendsetter, right? Like he'll pick up a game, he'll be the first one to just punch out a record in it, and he'll make up everything in it, and he's just kind of okay, I've done that game, let me move on, let me break another game. Uh, it's not just one game either. I mean, he's got just a library. Andy, any thoughts?
I I don't know. I mean, I guess I just like I don't really have like in A Link to the Past. Like, sure, there's a lot of competition, but I don't really have like a rival where we're like trading PBs back and forth. It'd be fun to have that in some game. I don't really know who. Like, I guess I could say like Ivan or Striker just because they're good friends of mine. It'd be fun to go back and forth with them in some game. But I don't know. I do love the competition factor. I've loved it for years now.
Yeah, let me ask it maybe a different way then for you. So just who do you think really owns their craft? Like, if you were to assign somebody a random game, you pick a speedrunner and you say this game is the game you're going to run. Who do you think's going to sit down and learn it and just crank out a really good run?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of people that are just like naturally good at games, and they can get like push out a good time in like a week or two. Like, I guess most recently Ivan, he picks up Mega Man 7 and just like busts out like 2 minutes behind the world record time on console in like 2 weeks, which is pretty insane for a game of that caliber.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Sinister One, who are you gunning for?
First of all, I'd like to say that TMR, I really liked your answer of Hoda Ruby. That was a really good one that I did not think about. I am actually gonna go with Cypher because
Stole mine.
he. Oh wow! I didn't.
Go ahead.
I didn't know that. Didn't know that was
Keep
yours.
going.
But I'm gonna go with Cypher because he really, really, really gets passionate about games when he plays them, and he's somebody that will put in. He's gonna put in the work. Number one. He's going to look for new strategies, so he's not just going to be copying and trying to execute better. He's going to out-execute you anyway, but he's also going to find new strats, so he's going to out-strat you. And then, just on top of that, he's just got the skill. He's got the ability. Like, when he plays, it's just... Watching him play, it's like art. It's great. So... yeah, I would go with him.
Yeah,
I would go with Cypher.
I agree on that note just because he sets the bar so high for himself. Like he doesn't tolerate small mistakes. He likes to make sure he's got every trick figured out before he goes and starts grinding out attempts. And that style is a style that's foreign to me. Like I like to do a lot of RTAs, and I don't necessarily know all the strats when I'm going to do those. I kind of like to learn as I go. So it's kind of inspiring to see that different approach to it. So on that note, I would maybe pick somebody like a Garrison, another player who just picks up games and doesn't set them down. Like Donkey Kong Country.
Good choice.
He kind of woke up one day and was like, I'm going to take the Donkey Kong Country record. And there he goes. He's going at it. So yeah, I think that's a good question. I would also say that it's not necessarily about like the most competitive person competing with them. I think it's cool for competition to have people that are also like good teachers. I think like Carl and Lee and Yoshi's Island as people who are very good themselves, but then you'll also see them jumping into other people's channels and saying, hey, there's a better way to do this, or have you considered this strategy instead? So they kind of not only do well for themselves, but then they go and kind of spread it to other people in the community. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, they're gonna want to share it with you, and I think just being able to push yourself to another level, because if you're competing against somebody like that they're going at it harder than you, like you're gonna have to do it. Whereas if you don't have that competition, then you might kind of slack off a little bit. You might be like, well, maybe I don't have to grind out another 2 hours of save state practice on this or whatever it is.
All right, I just want to get some chat reactions too. I know it's not the Q&A just yet, but I see the chat jumping in on this one. They're enjoying it. I've seen Darkman said Ohan. He's
That's a
competing
good
against
answer.
it.
Ohan.
Ohan is a beast.
I don't know, man. Again, if you're against Ohan, you might just give up. That's the problem there.
Yeah.
Like, you might just be like,
He sets the
nope.
bar too high. Yeah.
Yep, I lose.
I've seen a couple of people say Crystal. I've seen Duckfist would be fun to compete against.
Uh-huh.
Duckfist, that would be lots of fun.
Yeah, so cool. Well, keep the discussion going, guys, in the chat there. It seems like a good topic. And while you guys are talking about that, we are going to show you this week's Glitch Please, and I think you'll like this one. Sinister One,
I will
want to set
explain.
this one up.
So this is Ninja Gaiden for the NES, and this boss, there's 2 dogs, right? And one of them's real, one of them's fake. So you can see you can only deal damage to one of the dogs. So the goal, of course, is to keep track of which one is which and deal 16 damage before you get taken out here. Unfortunately, something very strange is going to happen. Where did that guy just...
Look at the right side of the screen there, yeah. In case...
so this guy actually got really lucky because the one that disappeared was the fake one. So if it had been the real one, I guess he would have just been soft locked.
Yeah, let's take a look at that again here. Just, I'm out of here.
Like, yep, that's it.
See you later, friend. He's jumping the wall.
The funny thing is that there's actually multiple glitches on this boss. You can actually spawn a 3rd dog. Is another glitch that happens sometimes on that. I've never seen that one before though, where he just leaves. He's just like, I'm out.
Yeah, that's
so.
Really
it was kind of weird. It looked like he hopped on like a back layer or something.
Yeah, it looked like he
towards the end there
jumped on a trampoline or something. I don't know where he got that